Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a post Super Bowl I schedule things poorly edition of Podfluxxx, episode 43. Ricky, we got a lot to get through tonight, not a lot of time to do it, but of course, I'm going to start with just a conversation. Did you watch slash enjoy slash win any money on the Super Bowl this year?
Negative on all of the above. Uh, my dad and my grandpa are big San Francisco 49ers fans because they were born and raised there.
Mm-hmm.
So they were pulling for him. I called my grandpa on Friday, and he was or Saturday afternoon. I think he was laughing that he goes, "I'm pulling up for them to win, but they'll probably blow it." And he just kept saying they'll blow it. So I know that they ended up losing at the
Well,
last second, so they blew it.
yeah, literal last second.
Yeah.
First of all, you blew my mind last week when you were like AFC or they were always the losers, and then NFC. It broke my brain that you knew the difference between the AFC and the NFC.
Yeah.
Right, so I held on a little hope that you might have watched the game, but I texted you yesterday and I said, "Hey, we'll record after the game."
Yeah.
Not realizing that they were going to take 6 hours to get through this Super Bowl. And by the time it finished up, it was almost 11 o'clock. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to go home. My children are going to be sound asleep,
Mhm.
waiting a school day. And I'm going to turn on the recording at 11 o'clock.
Right.
Not chance. It's
Yeah.
almost a little late to be doing it now, but luckily, I don't know if they know it or not, but they already have a predetermined snow day for tomorrow.
Oh, really?
We're supposed to have some snow event
Oh.
up here, and it's like 47 degrees out right now. And they're
Mm.
like, school's closed tomorrow. Emails already went around.
Yeah.
So that's crazy. I won about $12.78 on the game yesterday.
All right.
I had a I had a box in a pool. It wasn't an expensive box, but there was a minute to minute. So my score came up,
Oh.
my numbers, I hit 6-0, and I
Hmm.
wasn't lucky enough to have it ride out till the end of the quarter, but I got a little bit of money every minute that it went through, totaled out to $12. Exciting stuff. But anyway,
Hmm.
on to wrestling. I texted you. Well, I guess clearly it was Wednesday, right? Because it was
Yeah.
Dynamite was on. I
Right.
texted you Wednesday right after the end of the match, and I said you need to watch Paige and Swerve. I think my direct quote. Give me one moment, and I will pull it up for you. I said, "I'm sorry, but you're going to need to watch the first 40 minutes of Dynamite." And your response was, "LOL, I'll try." And I said, "It's great and bad." And I named some specifics. So did you go back? Did you watch it?
No.
You son of a bitch.
No. I was
Ricky,
keeping up. I was keeping up with it while you were texting me um, on Twitter and stuff, and just kind of like putting the pieces together. But when you said it was great, I was like, he's a liar. So
you got to remember, first and foremost, we're grading on a curve here.
right.
Okay. It's like a handicap in golf.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but they were in the footprint center in Phoenix, Arizona. And
Oh.
apparently the update from last week was there was about 4,300 people, maybe a little more than that in the building,
Mm.
which for them I feel like is a trend up.
Yeah.
Uh,
For sure. Yeah.
and Swerve and Page went on first, and the crowd was hot.
Oh,
right? And
yeah.
it was good. The crowd looked good. Building was lit
Mm,
well. They were there for AEW.
right.
And the match started out, and I'm immediately thinking to myself, like, I don't want to sit through another Swerve and Page match. Like, it's over. Page
Right.
got beat twice,
Yeah.
but they were having a really good match. And the crowd is just there for Swerve. Swerve.
Hmm.
They're chanting Swerve's house all night. They're behind Swerve. And they're with Hangman in the beginning, and they start to dump on him a little bit. And then I realize we're in the process of a double turn here.
Right.
And they were doing it really, really well.
Hmm.
And then there was a spot, I can't recall offhand exactly, but I think Swerve hit Page's move. He hit him with the flippy dippy clothesline.
Oh yeah.
And then he went up and hit his double stomp. And I was like, fantastic match, but they didn't go home. And I was like, ugh, like I didn't realize what we were in the midst of. And I
Right.
thought, like, if there was a spot to go home, like that was it. It made me think
Right.
about when you told me when you went, uh, when you were, I think you were down in Florida, and you had the match with TJ Kidd, was it?
Oh yeah.
And like before the show or whatever, and you hit something, and the referee was like, "Just go home."
Yeah.
Like that always sticks out to me, and I
Right.
was like, "Oh, go home," because it was
Yeah.
perfect. The place
Yeah.
would have went nuts. They went nuts on the false finish, and then I'm looking at it, and I'm going, "Man, this fucking thing is going a while." And the announcers, it doesn't come across on the audio on the TV, but the announcers go, Justin Roberts just announced 5 minutes left. So they announce it to the building, but they don't announce it. We don't get that audio. And I don't know, this is like the second time because it happened with Cole and MJF when they
Mm.
had their draw. So
Hmm.
I'm wondering if they're purposefully not telling us at home so we don't go, this is going to be a fucking draw and change the channel. You
Hmm.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
So Hangman dumps Page outside, and the count's getting up 3, 4, and Nana comes flying around the ring, and 5, 6, 7, and in the vein of Paul Bearer with the urn, willing the Undertaker to get up, Swerve's down dead flat on the mat, and he's just going around Swerve in a semicircle doing the dance. Like in Swerve's face, trying to get him to get up. It was the weirdest shit I've ever seen in my life. Like, why would Nana dancing get Swerve moving? Like, it was really, really, really weird. So then we go to the finish spot, and Swerve hits his deal. 1, 2, bell. Crowd dumps, boos immediately.
Uh-oh.
Swerve gets on the mic, goes 5 more minutes, just like Adam Cole did to MJF then. And Page responds with, I didn't have to beat you. You had to beat me. Because their ranking system is back.
Oh.
And Page bails.
Huh.
All right. So he leaves. And now he's getting dumped on, full-fledged heel turn, 40 minutes of TV, crowd hot the entire time. It was the best thing I've seen on AEW television in months.
Hmm.
And you didn't watch it.
Nope.
No. So with all of that being said, oh, excuse me. With all of that being said, Swerve needs to be well. It's going to be a three-way now at Revolution: Joe, Swerve, and Hangman because of the
Yeah.
draw.
Mm-hmm.
How quickly do you put the title on Swerve Strickland without throwing away the Samoa Joe title reign?
Yeah, that's a tough one. Because Joe's good at what he does, and there's some legs on Joe being a heel champion. Yeah, I felt like I don't know. Swerve's been gaining momentum in a big way. So I would have waited. I would wait till summertime to put it on him more to keep it on Joe and to like kind of elevate the title a little bit more. Because I just feel like that belt just doesn't mean much to anybody. And Joe is one of those guys that can make it meaningful. I would have put Swerve in some sort of. I wish they would have not done that ridiculous blood match that him and Paige already did. They could have did something else. I mean, you can throw in. I mean, I wouldn't put him on him in March, like at the pay-per-view. I wish they wouldn't have him in the match. Yeah, more of that. And then I would have. I mean, you can still throw some guys in front of Swerve and keep him moving, right? Because you can throw Brian in front of him, Claudio in front of him, and Moxley in front of him still. Before we get to Joe, and each one of those guys as heels is just going to level him up another notch every time he steps foot in the ring with those guys. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know how do you get the belt off? Why would you take the belt off Joe so quickly? But then at the same time, Swerve is so hot. Like, so, I mean, I don't know why make it a three-way. It's just kind of
Right.
Paige is just in the way now. The money
Yeah,
match
but
is
it goes so it
the
can be
money
an out
match
for
is
Swerve.
yeah, the money is Joe and Swerve. So unless Joe's beating Paige and that's Swerve's argument, and then he goes into a series of matches with a few guys like I just named to level him up to Joe's level to beating him. I don't know. It's just it sucks because it makes the world title match almost like a throwaway, and that's annoying. I would have rather have seen somebody challenging Joe. Like you could have heated up Claudio a little bit, and as a heel or as something, and then just have them go at it in a singles match. But I don't know. I hate the three-way matches for the world title in this particular situation. So I don't know. I mean, it wouldn't be wrong to put it on them now. I just don't like taking it off Joe so quickly. But if Joe beats Paige, makes sense. Swerve argues until the next pay-per-view,
Right.
I guess.
That's what you do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pulling off the effective double turn.
Yeah.
I want to see if I don't think I'm not going to ask you if it's too early to actually make Swerve a babyface because it's with the reactions he's been getting on TV and
Right.
at the shows. it needed to happen sooner than later. But can you speak to how difficult it is to pull off a nice, crisp, clean, effective double turn?
I mean if you're forcing it, it's extremely difficult, right? But this has been as clear as day for a couple months now, probably. It's all credit to Swerve getting himself over and staying over. And I think the fans just appreciate he's just not out there, winking and nodding at the cameras and playing the bullshit games that all the other dickheads are doing in that company. He's taking it all serious. He knows that, I mean, in the back of his mind, he knows that WWE's is aware of what he's doing and how well he's getting over. So a big return for Swerve in WWE is definitely reachable in the next few years or whatever, 2 or 3 years, whatever he's done there. But as far as like how it's been going, I mean, it was just a matter of when are you going to pull that switch, and they did it here. So you can feel it when it's happening, and then you're just kind of like riding that momentum. So it sounded like they did everything right, and it needed to happen. So it's not difficult when it's that way.
Well, more news out of AEW Dynamite. I'm going to go in number of importance here. Sting and Darby Allin are the AEW World Tag Team Champions.
Right.
With convenient enough timing that Sting's last match is going to be in 1 month against the Young Bucks. As Gorilla Monsoon would say, boy, Jess, he really telegraphed that one. Is there a more clear outcome than Sting's gonna lose his last match to the Bucks?
This match, it didn't need the belts. It just muddies the water up, in my opinion. It's just stupid, man. Like, if it has to be the Bucks, why can't it just be the match that needs to be, and letting Sting have his moment? I don't know.
Right.
I mean, it always seems like once they have something good, that they find a way to just screw it all up. Putting hats on hats for no reason. It's Sting's retirement match. What does he need the belt for? Um, Sting and Darby have been a pair and a team and a unit for years now. Now you put the belts on them. It's fucking
Right.
stupid. I mean, it's selfish because they did it for themselves. The Bucks, at least. I don't know. Once I saw that they had won the belts that night, I just rolled my eyes and thought, this is fucking stupid. Like, you just stepped on Sting's dick. Like, it's just dumb. Like, Sting should have won the match against them at the end, and then gone off into the sunset. But I don't know. It's gonna be fucking dumb.
Not knowing, but perceiving the way Tony Khan books, I do see two possibly different outcomes aside from the Bucks winning that kind
Yeah.
of lead to the same result. And one is Sting and Darby Allin just winning, Sting
Right.
retiring,
Yeah.
and Darby Allin either having to find a new tag team partner, Tony Khan getting to do what he loves to do most, and that's have a tournament, right? Because if anybody
Yeah.
loves a tournament, it's good old TK.
Yeah.
Or Darby Allin turns heel on Sting right at the end of the match, and either whether they win or lose to the Bucks, he can have them turn heel on Sting to have a heel Darby Allin start, where the Bucks walk away with the title, or he turns heel on them after they win the titles. The titles get vacated, and Tony Khan still gets to have a tournament. But I think they're looking at Kenny Omega not being there, MJF
Yeah.
not being there. Um, who else are there? There no real, essentially in ring Adam Cole
Right.
and Jericho on the downward spiral of a lifetime. I see the Bucks convincing Tony Khan that he needs to do something important with them now. In
Yeah.
case of
For sure.
emergency, break glass.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, that's all that all makes sense to do, I guess. Um yeah, I guess it would and when you look at Darby Allin, like he's been on their TV for so long doing the same stuff, like it would be a good refresh for him. So I could see that being a positive for him going forward.
mhm,
And I'm sure Sting's looking at it like this is what I can do for you on my way out.
right.
So I could definitely see that happening. It get a good reaction too, I think.
Yeah. Real
So
quick, rapid fire. Surfer Sting or Crow Sting? Who are we getting at Revolution?
we're getting Crow Sting for sure. For sure. I was thinking about that too. I thought, does he dye the hair and tan, brother? But I don't think so. I don't I
The
don't think so.
hair.
Yeah.
Not the hairs, the
Yeah.
hair.
The hair.
He I love Sting.
Yeah.
I just want to put that on Front Street before I make fun of him. Have you noticed that he's starting to outline the white paint with black paint all the way up into like the hairline and then down around his chin and stuff? Oh, Stinger, Stinger, Stinger. All right. Last thing I want to talk about from this episode of Dynamite, and then we'll hit one more AEW topic. Tony Khan's major announcement. Huge announcement. Like a deer in headlights. Okay. He announces that they'll be having a Dynamite at the TD Boston Garden that he's titled Big Business, which, is like when Punk had his first Rampage or whatever, and
Right.
it was the first dance.
Right.
This Boston Big Business, this is gonna be the Mercedes Moné debut.
Right.
Now, I went on WrestleTix just a few minutes ago, and apparently they've already distributed 5,600 tickets to this event. So they're set up right now for, it says current setup 6,831. They've distributed 5,601. So this is gonna be a fullish building for them, for Sasha Banks coming in. Tony Khan clearly willing to spend the money that nobody else was.
Yep.
What are your thoughts on Sasha Banks, Mercedes Moné going the AEW route? Uh, I don't know how much money she's getting. Do you think if it's an amount that the WWE wasn't willing to pay,
Yeah.
or New Japan or TNA, without knowing the amount, do you think that she justifies whatever the asking price she commands?
Well, at first, I'm sure, because I think they'll get it close to 10,000 people. I'm looking at like 8-ish, I think. They'll load the card up, they'll tease it a little bit more, however, because I saw that this the word Boston had the 2 S's, on the
Yeah.
advertisement or whatever.
Just
Huh?
just a reference here. The last time they were in the TD Garden, Boston TD Garden, was last July for Blood and Guts, and they drew 8,956.
Yeah. I would imagine around that, like, and then she'll move merchandise right away, like all the big stars do when they first get there. So I don't know what it's this is like when TNA was like bad, and guys would come over like Ken Anderson, and then they were just doing random nonsense that devalued them. Booker T, the Dudleys, like, I don't know. Initially, yeah, she's gonna, pop a number. She's gonna, everyone's gonna be talking about it. But in 3 months or 6 months, what are we doing? What are we looking at? Is she just gonna be vanished, gone, and just collecting a check? And why would she care? She's still getting paid. I don't know. It's weird because, like, I don't like their women's division there at all. I don't think it's good. I think a lot of girls there should have signed with WWE and went to NXT to learn how to do the stuff right. And then what few people that they do have in the women's division that are good, a lot of them aren't highlighted the way they should be. And I mean, Toni Storm's getting herself over, and she's super over, I think. That's just one person though, and then what do you do with Sasha? Like, that's the big question, right? Like, okay, you're here. Do you go right after Toni and then take the belt right away? Do you put an obstacle in front of her? Like, does Nyla Rose come out and whoop her ass? Like, like, I don't know, it would be something bad like that they would do, so I don't know. I mean, yeah, she'll pop a number, she'll move some merchandise. But 6 months from now is the question. What are you doing with her then? Because there's no real direction there, I mean, she could have went to WWE,
Right.
and shocked everybody at the Rumble, rolled into WrestleMania, could have had a huge year, and been okay, and then go to AEW or whatever. I don't know. Like, I just think it's a bad move. Anybody going to AEW, I don't know. I don't know what they're thinking. I mean, financially, I guess if it works out for you and that's really what you're worried about, then I guess. But other than that, it's really hard to pull a Swerve Strickland and get over and keep yourself strong. So, I mean, who knows? Because they ruined Edge, within the first couple of weeks. Like, that really pissed me off. I don't know.
Adam Cole.
Adam. They destroyed Adam Cole. I mean, every which way possible. I don't know. It's just Andrade. They did nothing. Absolutely nothing. Miro. I don't know, man. It is not good over there. I mean, if you're getting paid, great, but seriously, like, why go there if you're looking to get better? Because you're not going to get the opportunity to get better. Like you got to go somewhere where they're going to challenge you and want and push you to get better, and that's not that company.
And book you.
Right, exactly. Like you have to be. They have 3 fucking shows, and guys go missing for like 9 months. You know, I mean, and they have Ring of Honor for what it's worth. It's still a taping of some kind, but you don't see anybody there, like any of the big names. I don't get it. It's just, I don't know. It's terrible.
Well, speaking of people, on my screen right now.
What'd you say?
So, but I'm going to go and jump into our next. There you are. Hey, pal. Nice to see you. Speaking of people making mistakes and going there, Fightful Select reported over the weekend that Okada, although nothing signed, has made an agreement with AEW. So now, within the last few weeks, that's Okada, that's Ospreay, that's Sasha Banks. All right. And then pushing Swerve as a babyface to the top of the card. Before we really get into Okada moving over there, do you think that Tony Khan is in the midst of a restructure of his main event picture in AEW?
I mean, does he doesn't even know how to make a main event picture. I mean, unless Joe is in these meetings and helping structure things, he wouldn't even understand where to start. If Okada goes to AEW, that is going to be one of the biggest disappointments in pro wrestling for me, because I don't see a point. I think Okada's a bigger star than everybody there. Like, who's he going to work against? Joe? Maybe, you can get a good one
Ospreay.
again. But those fans already know about those matches.
Right.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I really wish he would just go to WWE. I don't know if they're gonna do him put him in NXT or not, but I would much rather see him mixing it up with like Drew McIntyre and LA Knight and AJ again. And I mean, it just, man, like Randy Orton against Okada, like, shit like that. Like, come on, man. If he goes to AEW, I'm going to be really upset. Like that shit'll bother me. Knowing that he wants to wrestle in WrestleMania, why would you settle for AEW? It just doesn't make any sense. And he's been there off and on. That's why I didn't like when Jay White went, because it was like, oh, he was here a couple months ago. Like now he's here all the time. And then now look at what he's doing, I don't know. It's just bad. Like, I really hope he doesn't go there. It's really going to piss me off if he does.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing there match wise that I'm looking forward. I mean, I think Okada and Swerve would be, I don't want to say I don't want to say a bad match. It would be interesting.
Yeah.
But there's outside of Okada and Joe, Okada and Swerve, there's nothing there that I'm looking forward to seeing. I don't need to see him and Brian again.
No. Right.
I don't need to see him get in there and stooge for fucking Moxley. Him and
Right.
Claudio would be interesting, but there's no interest in Claudio to even do that.
But that's
Why
what
would
I'm
you put
saying.
Claudio out there
Like
with Okada?
they don't know how to build the stars to build a main event type of feel. So I mean, in a few months, what's Okada going to be doing? You know, seriously, like he's not going to be doing anything good because they don't know what they're doing. So
All
I
right.
mean,
Well,
these guys are all just cashing checks right now. That's it.
we're
That's it.
going to switch gears a little bit. So are you ready?
Sure.
Did it work on you?
What?
The WWE hypnosis.
Where you got me talking about everything except Vince McMahon pooping on girls?
Right, but not just that. Last Friday, right, or 10 days, whatever, we witnessed Rhodes, Jesus,
Right.
Cody Rhodes come to the ring, shake The Rock's hand, and give him his WrestleMania main event, right?
Right.
So last Thursday, they have their Las Vegas WrestleMania kickoff press conference.
Right.
And they tried to trick us all into believing that we didn't hear and see what we saw and heard the week before. All of a sudden, Cody's like, well, all of a sudden, The Rock's a jerk. Okay. Roman gets to pick who he wants to wrestle. Seth Rollins is upset about it for no good goddamn reason, right? And then Cody comes out and he's like, no, I choose Roman. But like 6 days ago, you were like, Roman, I do not choose you. I'm going to give this, like, where's, I feel like, between Friday and Thursday from last week and the week before, did I fall into some type of coma and miss something? Like, what are these people doing?
It is very confusing for no good reason. Um, I don't know what they're doing because once I like realized that kickoff thing was on, I started searching for it on Twitter, and it was just weird, right? Like
Yeah.
it didn't. I mean, obviously, it's something new. I guess they're trying, and they have the star power to pull in people into something like that and draw some interest. But none of it made any sense. It certainly didn't make me think, man, I can't wait for WrestleMania. Like it didn't make me feel like that at all. I
Mm,
was more confused after this than I was before. Like the SmackDown
yes.
thing threw me into like, okay, I know I'm not the brightest, but the fuck just happened? And then I thought, well, we'll figure it out. They'll explain it better. And then this happened. And I was like, wait, I'm dumber now, like
Yeah.
than I was a few days ago. And I was just, I don't know. They they have a lot of loose ends to tie here, and I'm assuming, uh, I don't know, will anything happen at Elimination Chamber that could put this together? Is anyone going to Elimination Chamber? Like I know Punk was advertised. I've heard rumors that they wanted The Rock there. Is Roman going to Elimination Chamber? Like who's supposed to be there besides Rhea and maybe Punk on commentary? Like
Well, if they put Punk back on commentary, that would be awesome.
yeah,
Uh, I want to jump out in front and just let you know that my favorite part of this kickoff show was there was a Tron, a
Yeah.
curtain, and a stage of like 15 feet. And Roman Reigns took 2.5 minutes, maybe 3, to emerge from this curtain and make it 15 feet to the front of this stage. I was like, how the fuck is he even milking this? It was incredible. Um, I was so confused. And
Yeah.
like I had a kid that I know, he texted me and he was like, a kid that I work with, and he was like, "Are you watching this right now? Shit's going down." And I turned it on, and he's like, I was like, shoot me a link and a time code. So he sent me the YouTube link and was like, started at 42 minutes. So I put it on at 42 minutes, and Seth Rollins is out there and he's talking, and then he calls out Cody, and then Roman comes out, and then The Rock comes out, and The Rock's like not mad at Roman, even though he just was.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then Cody comes out with no music, and he's mad, and then The Rock's mad, and then The Rock slaps the shit out of him,
Right.
which gets Seth angry,
Right.
and I'm like, what are we doing here?
Right. Exactly.
We were gravy 6 days ago. And then I read something online that said TKO pushed for The Rock to main event WrestleMania 40, and it was part of the deal when they brought him in January 3rd. Which now I'm like, okay, they've had a month to figure this out.
Right.
But between CM Punk getting eliminated at the Royal Rumble, to Monday Night Raw, to SmackDown, to the press conference the following Thursday, this has just been like a scramble to make something that could be very simple very hard.
Yeah. The idea of having him, if that were the case, and they knew that regardless of who won the Rumble, because if it was true, like you said, that Punk was supposed to win, he was off with Seth
Mhm.
regardless. So this still left us a way to get to Cody and Roman, um, to make sense. Now, the whole thing is, was The Rock supposed to wrestle Roman, or is he just supposed to be at WrestleMania? Because they kind of threw him into Friday night, like, hey, you're going to wrestle Roman, or they hinted at it at least. I don't think it was ever really officially said. And then didn't somebody say something Monday night? I think it was Michael Cole said that the match between The Rock and Roman hasn't been officially signed yet. Like, I know they threw that out because that was flying all over Twitter that night as well.
I see. I
So
missed that.
okay, so they did say that, or I think it was Michael Cole that said it, and then everybody started with, "No, Cody's coming. Cody's going to end up wrestling Roman." This was before the press conference, so this was Monday night. So yeah, I don't know. It's I don't know what's going on, to be honest.
In my mind, in my mind's eye, I am almost 100% certain that Punk was supposed to win the Rumble.
Yeah,
Rock was supposed to wrestle Roman at Chamber. Cody Rhodes was supposed to win the Elimination Chamber
right.
and get his way to the Rock that way. That's the only way it
Yeah.
can make sense.
Yeah.
And then I think that there was a that doesn't work for me, brother, or hey, what about? And then I think Punk got hurt. They changed the finish. They scrambled to try and make something make sense. They carried it into Monday. They carried it into Friday. And then somebody said, well, this is what we're going to do. And completely unlogicked all the logic that they just scrambled to make over that first 24 hours after the Rumble.
Yeah. That all seems to fit together that way. I just don't understand inserting The Rock Friday night the way they did.
Mm-hmm.
Like, uh, yeah, all that makes sense. I just don't understand it. Like, from Friday to Thursday was just awkward and weird.
Mm-hmm.
That was too, you know, too difficult to follow. Like in a fighter's mind, why would you do that? Where you devalued the Rumble. Uh, you can have it. No, now you can't. But I'm still the good guy. You're the bad guy now. I feel like they saw the pushback on social media and panicked,
Yep.
and then that was a result. Thursday was a result of the social media pushback. I think that's the only thing that makes sense to me. Why it drastically changed for no reason with no rhythm to it. It was just like your whole family, would be ashamed of you, in his theatrical
I've got an
voice.
idea. I've got an idea. Let's draw out the family tree and put it up in the Titantron and wait for a pop.
Yeah, right. And then, and then, the Rock's slow delivery of his blood is my blood.
Yeah.
And then why did Cody look so afraid of the Rock as he slowly and methodically inched his way towards them, all just for a slap. And then Seth was like, hey, you slapped the guy I don't like. Stop. Like, what
Yeah.
what is happening? None of that made sense. It was chaos.
There's a lot of speculation now that we're heading for a tag match at Elimination Chamber,
Oh,
where maybe they can correct some of this. But now I feel like we're recycling the Miz and R-Truth
yeah. John
versus
Cena, Rock. Yeah.
John Cena and The Rock.
Yeah.
Um,
I don't like that.
so I don't know. I'm curious to see what they do at Elimination Chamber. I'm
Right.
curious when we're done with this podcast to turn on Monday Night Raw and figure out what they've changed today. But
Right.
are you in the loop of anything going down at Elimination Chamber thus far?
That's
Because
Rhea
now it
and
gets weirder.
right. That's Rhea and Nia Jax, right?
Yeah, I wasn't talking about that unfortunate turn of
Oh,
events. I was talking about the Elimination Chamber matchup, which will
oh,
be to determine who wrestles Seth Rollins at WrestleMania.
I
So
did
now
not
we're
know
going to
that.
convolute this even further and throw another person into this party. So what they're doing is they've got like this little they're having qualifying matches between where did it go? Jesus Christ. Give me a second. I'm an idiot. All right, so the people that are in these qualifying matches: Randy Orton, Bronson Reed, Kevin Owens, Logan Paul, AJ Styles, The Miz, Bobby Lashley, Ivar. Yeah, it's a thing. Drew McIntyre, Sami Zayn, Dominic Mysterio, and LA Knight. Now, I am fairly certain that McIntyre beat AJ on SmackDown last week for his spot. And I believe that Randy Orton qualified also. I don't know who he beat to qualify, but he's qualified. But speaking of qualified, let's talk about Ivar here for a minute and Dominic Mysterio and The Miz and even Jake Paul. And at this point, Bobby Lashley also. So clearly, some of these guys are just going to be cannon fodder for guys to qualify. Could you have picked anybody less over than Ivar and Bronson Reed and The Miz and Bobby Lashley at this point?
I guess you could have threw in there Ricochet.
Why not?
Yeah, at this point. Yeah, I don't know. How many's in the elimination chamber? 5 or 6? Wait,
4 in each corner and 2 to start. 6.
2 to start. So 6 people. So I mean, we're really down to what? 2, maybe 3 people out of this thing, right? I mean, maybe Orton,
Yeah.
which I don't see that happening. Maybe McIntyre.
Right now, McIntyre's in, Orton's in, and Lashley is in.
Yeah, but I'm saying to win it, to main event WrestleMania, I'm thinking McIntyre, right?
Yeah, you've got McIntyre is the only one that makes any type of logical sense.
I mean, he's the only one that's been mixing it up with Cody
He
and
beat
those
Seth
guys.
Rollins, let him go home for a little while. What was that?
Huh? I said he's the only one that's been mixing it up with Punk and Cody, like verbally and getting physical with any of those guys. So, I mean, it'll be cool if it came down to McIntyre and Orton and they just kind of went for a while, and it only makes sense for McIntyre to have it right now. So I don't know.
So right now the card for Elimination Chamber stands that you're gonna have Balor and Damian Priest in a tag team match for the undisputed titles against British Strong Style. That's Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate. Where I think it's time. I hate to bury the tag titles this way, but it's time to beat the Judgment Day. If they beat the Judgment Day, then you know we're heading for a cash-in. Right now, we've got Becky Lynch and Bianca Belair have qualified for the Elimination Chamber match. They're whoever wins that one, I guess, will take on the winner of Rhea Ripley and Nia Jax, which is a main event almost nowhere in the world.
Oh, damn you, Rock.
You know, I never thought it'd be The Rock that would do us like this.
He's really fucking shit up lately.
I feel like I should have known, but you see Triple H's promo from Friday after the Vegas thing?
A little bit of it, like clips of it, yeah.
So basically, he came out, and I think he may be just as, if not more, confused than the rest of us as to what's going on there right now. But he was like, listen, he's like, he in his Triple H voice was like, there's only one person whose opinion
Right.
that matters, despite what you believe. And he was like, and it's mine. And then he threw like an it doesn't matter towards
Yeah.
the Rock.
Yeah.
Uh, I hate that. And I feel like because they're building us up for something that they can't deliver.
Right.
Like if you're gonna play up off a beef between Triple H and Rock, there can't be a payoff because Triple H's heart is a no-no.
Mhm. Right.
You got me?
Yeah.
He's got he's got a boo-boo heart.
Right.
And so I get that maybe they're trying to like let us the viewers at home go know that like our guy quote unquote Triple H is still in charge as far as
Right.
TV goes,
Yeah.
but this is getting very overcomplicated.
Yeah, they're just adding more to it doesn't fix anything, and that's all they did there. So stupid.
Yeah, it's like the road to WrestleMania is like a roller coaster track this year.
Right. I also don't like the fact that Triple H had to come out and say all that with the two general managers of each show standing behind him. Aren't they the ones in charge of Raw and SmackDown?
Right.
What was the
Right.
point in having them there then?
Yeah.
It looks stupid.
There's just it's incredible how like 2 weeks ago
Yeah.
everything made sense.
Right.
Everything was perfect. We knew right what we were heading for. The biggest WrestleMania of all time. And
Right.
now it's just like tumbling downstairs.
It's it's just too much for everybody. It's like, can you imagine being like, I had a friend, message me about it as well, and he's just like, a regular person,
Mm-hmm.
and he said, "Why is this happening?"
Yeah.
And I was like, I think they are confused, and they're gonna put all kinds of sizzle around everything and hope that we don't try to figure out
Makes
what's
sense.
happening. They just see a bunch of stars and they're like, "What? This is crazy." But there's no direction, I don't feel. So I remember telling them, I said, I feel like they don't know what's going on. So they're trying to iron everything out, but they need to hurry the fuck up because they have too many TV shows and everyone's heading in different directions, on each show. So it's very confusing. I don't like the fact that Triple H came out there and said that with the two general managers of both shows on SmackDown. It's stupid because it steps on them, because what are they there for then if Triple H is really in charge? Yeah, it was one of those like, oh, I'm gonna go let everybody know that I'm still in charge. For what? Like,
Right.
what's Nick Aldis's role then? And then Adam Pearce, who's not even supposed to be there, is standing next to him. I'm like, what's happening? Like, quick, let's have a meeting out in the ring, live on SmackDown. Hurry! Like, that's what it looked like it happened. It was just, I don't know, it's fucking stupid.
Adam Pearce is like Dante in Clerks. I'm not even supposed to be here today.
Right?
But
Exactly.
well, we can only wait and see.
Right.
The way I like to gauge it, like you were said that your buddy, he's a regular
Yeah.
wrestling fan.
Right.
If we're confused,
Right.
the casuals are lost.
They have no idea what's happening. I remember him saying, I thought when he won the Rumble, he gets to pick who he wrestles. And I was like, yeah, that was supposed to be the way. and it just didn't make any sense to anybody, you know. I don't know.
Well, I'll tell you what makes sense. I'm going to go watch Monday Night Raw to see what doesn't make sense. And we'll converse about this again in 7 days.
Right.
All right?
Yep.
Very good. You got anything else you want to bring up? Questions, comments, concerns?
Okada better
No?
not go to AEW. Better not. I fucking swear.
You better call Rocky.
I'm gonna
call
text.
a
I
bomb
feel like I
threat or
need to.
something.
I feel like I need to text him. I know he's in Japan right now, so I might text him.
He's only 15 hours behind us.
Yeah, right.
If Taylor Swift can do it, Rocky can do it.
He can do
All
it.
right, motherfluxers, I'm going to run the gimmick. Ricky, I will catch you next week. Enjoy this week in wrestling, bud.
Yeah, right.